Why Rosé's historic VMA win marks the end of K-pop's perfect armor. When Rose accepted the Song of the Year award at the 2025 MTV Video Music Awards for APT, she wasn't just holding hardware. She wasn't even competing in the K-pop category. She transcended it entirely, standing alongside Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter in the general field. That placement alone was seismic, but when she took the stage to accept the trophy, it signaled something larger. The sound of K-pop's perfectly engineered armor finally cracking. And Rose was the one who broke it. Let's explore how one artist proved K-pop's future isn't about the genre, it's about the music. The shifting ground. In an industry built on synchronization, she was singing about messy breakups. In a culture that forbids dating rumors, she was naming her exes. The girl, once told by people that her voice didn't fit K-pop, had proven that maybe K-pop needed to fit her instead. The era of consuming music just because it's K-pop is over, says Go-ri Kim, who worked on K-pop global tours from 2012 with 8 years of experience, and also pioneered the first K-pop VR concert tours globally. People don't listen to music anymore just because it's K-pop. They listen because they love that artist's musical world and voice. The shift is measurable. When Go-ri promoted VR concerts for Tomorrow X Together and Enhypen, two HYBE boy groups with comparable streaming numbers and tour scales, what struck her most was how little their core fanbases overlapped. You could be devoted to Enhypen and indifferent to TXT. Same label, same success metrics, completely different audiences. The old K-pop fan category had splintered into something more granular. Loyalty to individual artists, not to a genre. A decade ago, when Go-ri worked with Live Nation promoting K-pop tours across the US, Western promoters barely took the genre seriously. Until BTS started selling out Citi Field Stadium on October 6, 2018, most venues treated K-pop as risky, niche programming. Shows were rare enough that fans drove hours to attend what felt like once-in-a-lifetime events. Marketing targeted Asian communities almost exclusively because that's where promoters assumed the audience lived. Now, Los Angeles sees a K-pop show nearly every week, but the crucial shift isn't frequency, it's specificity. The crowds look different depending on who's performing. Marketing strategies must be artist-specific because the audiences demand it. Fans don't identify as K-pop fans anymore. They say they connect with Rose. They follow G-Dragon's artistry. As Go-ri frames it, this reflects K-pop's maturation, from niche novelty to mainstream cultural participation. In this reconfigured landscape, Rose's VMA nomination and subsequent win carried particular weight. She wasn't being celebrated as a K-pop curiosity. She was being recognized as an artist who made a song people couldn't stop playing. The success of APT wasn't accidental. Henry Young, a Korean-American producer who's remixed K-pop tracks over 300,000 times with more than 100 million streams, dissects the track's construction with professional precision. The drum beat, stripped down, almost primal, departed from K-pop's typical layered electronic production. The chorus hook embedded itself through repetition and simplicity, not through the genre's usual sonic maximalism. But what made it culturally adhesive, Young argues, was the specificity. Introducing global audiences to a Korean drinking game created the sensation of insider knowledge, a sense of discovering something genuinely fresh rather than consuming another algorithmic pop product. The social media strategy amplified this effect. Rose and Bruno Mars playing the game on Instagram stories. Mars leaving playful comments about how she got him drunk and taught him this Korean game. The campaign blurred the line between promotion and authentic interaction. The gossip machinery started churning before the song even dropped. When it did, listeners felt like they were joining something organic, not being marketed to. But strategy only carries you so far. The music had to deliver, and Rose delivered. After leaving YG Entertainment's solo management for The Black Label and Atlantic Records, Rose worked with Mars and Western producers to strip away the electronic sheen that had characterized her earlier work. ROSÉ, the full-length album that followed APT, sounds like someone sitting across from you with an acoustic guitar, recounting the worst year of their life, which is exactly what it is. Charlotte Johnson, a music business student who's tracked K-pop since 2018, watched this evolution closely. With R in 2021, on the ground and gone, it felt like her words, but not her sound, she observes. Deep emotional meaning backed by bright electronic beats. Like she was sneaking bits of herself in, but still fitting the K-pop mold. The compromise worked commercially, but not artistically. You could hear Rose trying to speak through a genre that wasn't designed for what she needed to say. The 2021 EP featured her lyrics, her emotions, but encased in YG Entertainment's signature sound, that glossy, up-tempo production that defines the label's output. It was Rose ventriloquizing through YG's aesthetic. ROSÉ abandoned that ventriloquism entirely. The acoustic production, the slower tempos, the unadorned vocals, these choices aligned sound with meaning in a way her previous solo work couldn't. More radically, she names names. Talks about relationships and heartbreak without metaphor or abstraction. In an industry where dating scandals routinely end careers, where fans attacked soloist Dawn and Hyuna over relationship rumors, where EXO members couldn't even confirm they had girlfriends, Rose released an entire album processing her romantic past. In K-pop, talking about love or relationships is basically forbidden, says Kenya Miranda, 21, from Ohio, who's followed Blackpink since their 2016 debut. The idol has to seem available. When that image breaks, fans turn vicious or leave. So, seeing Rose openly discuss her experiences, it's humanizing in a way K-pop usually doesn't allow. The vulnerability wasn't novel. Western pop has mined personal pain for decades. What resonated was watching someone escape a system that seemed inescapable. The K-pop idol system, for all its global success, operates on conformity. Artists can't date publicly, can't deviate from company-assigned images, can't show the seams. If you stick idols in a cookie-cutter mold and tell them this is who you are, you can't change it. It can be concerning when it's the opposite of who you are, Miranda explains. She cites Twice's Jeonjaeon as an example, who was assigned a tomboy image she never wanted and was only able to embrace femininity after the group gained enough leverage to push back. You're doing everything that's not you. You know it's not you. It's what the company wants. On July 13th at SoFi Stadium during Blackpink's Born Pink tour, the contrast became physical. When Rose performed Toxic till the end solo, no choreography, no backup dancers, just voice, the 70,000-person crowd went quiet in a way it hadn't for the precision dance numbers. They weren't screaming, they were listening. Then Bruno Mars appeared for APT, and the catharsis broke. The performance illustrated the duality Rose now embodies. With Blackpink, every move is clean, precise, and synchronized with 3 other women. Solo, Rose is jumping around like a 70s rock star, with no choreography and just unfiltered joy. With Blackpink, everything has to be exact, Miranda says. As ROSÉ, there's no need for perfection. She's just having fun. Not worrying how her hair looks. Just being herself. That distance between Rose, the stage name YG Entertainment assigned to Park Chae-young, and ROSÉ, the nickname her friends use, isn't just semantic. It's the entire transformation in miniature. One is persona. The other is a person. The new blueprint. When Johnson started listening to K-pop in 2018, admitting she liked it got her weird looks. Now her music business professors discuss K-pop touring models and fan engagement strategies in class. Her internship supervisor told her he wishes he'd gotten into the business of K-pop because it's taking over. But what's taking over isn't 2018 K-pop, the matching outfits, synchronized perfection, maintained mystique. What's breaking through is hybrid. Artists using K-pop's infrastructure, the training, the production values, the fan engagement systems, while claiming the creative autonomy Western artists take as baseline. ROSÉ still includes Korean cultural elements. APT itself is named after a drinking game. She's not rejecting her roots or burning bridges. Instead, she's building new ones that extend beyond the old system while honoring where she came from. This is why an acoustic guitar sounds revolutionary in this context. In a genre built on electronic maximalism and group synchronization, one woman with 6 strings becomes radical by being small, specific, and unadorned. After everything, being in this industry so long, she's coming out confident in who she is, Johnson observes. You see it in interviews, acceptance speeches. She put in the time figuring out who she wants to be. At the VMAs, accepting the trophy, ROSÉ said something that sounded simple. 12 years later, I dedicate this award to my 16-year-old self who dreams. This is a really big moment for 16-year-old me. She wasn't talking about fame or validation from MTV. She was talking about permission. To be the artist she always was underneath the image YG Entertainment constructed. The 16-year-old trainee who loved acoustic covers and wrote songs in her bedroom finally got to make the album she wanted to make. The trophy is just proof she didn't have to choose between success and authenticity. The K-pop system produced ROSÉ. It trained her voice, taught her to perform, and gave her a global platform, but it also tried to contain her. What makes her trajectory significant isn't that she rejected K-pop. It's that she proved you could use its infrastructure without being imprisoned by its restrictions. Now, ROSÉ has her sights set on the Grammys, following standout performances at the Global Citizen Festival, a string of appearances on major New York shows like The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, and even a guest spot on The Howard Stern Show. Who knows, maybe APT will end up snagging a nomination. The trophy sits on a shelf. The lesson doesn't. ROSÉ proved K-pop artists can keep the system's power without its prison. The armor of perfection built an empire. She showed the world you don't have to die in it.